Goal King Cole, Andrew Cole, yes, is joining us today at Bola.Mamak, and it is a special one. Ross Yusof, of course, needs the makeup. This man definitely needs the makeup if he doesn't want to shine like a disco ball. Andrew Cole just getting, stuff sorted out with our producer, Stephen_Stew at Astro.com.my. And holy mother of everything that is good on this planet, what is the Orangeman wearing? Food intake done, Gary and Phil Neville presents on the set done, and of course we have to wait for one man, and his name is Des Corkhill, aka Dr. Doom. Well, I guess the gang's all here, so let's go.
Welcome to a special edition of Bola.Mamak, because we have the one and only Andrew Cole in the house. Of course, we've got the Orangeman, Ross Yusof, Des Corkhill, my Man United, the Sabah Red Devils, everyone! Ooh. Goosebumps, Liverpool fans here. 2-1. It is time for all your questions via Facebook, Twitter, email, and it's all for this man on my left. And the first question comes from Alex Valentino, and he goes by this. What is your favorite United moment of all time?
Favorite? 99, the year.
All right. That can't beat anything else?
No, not for me.
What was the feeling like though?
Hard to explain. Very surreal.
Very surreal. You are so precise, just like how you used to score goals. To the point. Unlike somebody else. But all right, moving along. Kavin Ramakrishnan, if you had the chance, would you trade your UEFA Champions League victory for a World Cup win with England? Feel free to answer or be honest.
I think I've answered by laughing. Hell no.
All right, moving on to Loga Balin, who simply goes by, who was the goalkeeper you found hardest to beat during your days as a striker?
Peter Schmeichel.
Peter Schmeichel?
Yeah.
But that was in practice and afterwards as well, right?
Yeah, that was when I played against him, practiced against him. Yeah, very, very tough.
Ross? I got one. Worst manager you played under and why?
Oh dear.
Worst manager. Worst. Wow.
I know the best, so.
Worst. It's not my cup of tea. Most probably Graham Sinnott.
Whoa.
Not my cup of tea.
But why? But why? Was he not a nice person to deal with?
I just thought, my view, bully.
A bully. I don't know, because I read reports back then that he actually got in a fight with one of his, players back then. Were you there, or?
Was I there? I was at the football club then. Yeah, I certainly was.
So that he wasn't exactly the best individual to work with.
Like I said, just my views. I thought he's a bully. And I think if you've always been that way inclined when you're playing the game, you go into management, you're going to be the same kind of way. But when you find people who stand up against a bully, you don't know how to address them.
So you stood up to this man.
Yeah.
Could you could you give us a scenario where, and I'm sorry to do this to you, but like where he actually bullied someone or he tried to impose himself?
He would always try and impose himself. And I think the players who played under him before I went there, they were used to it.
This is different from the hairdryer.
Hairdryer, totally different. Because he's a manager who manages with class.
Wow.
So he's just totally different.
Mr. Corkhill?
Yeah, one for me. You spent 20 years as a pro, 6 at United, and everyone associates with United. I always remember you more at Newcastle, where you scored, 70 goals, 68 goals in 80-odd games?
Newcastle.
Remarkable. Right. Surely that was the best time of your career.
For scoring goals, but I've always perceived myself as a team player, so ultimately it don't matter how many goals I scored. My team was not going to win anything at the end of the year.
But that was great fun, wasn't it? Do
you want to play football for fun, or do you want to win silverware? I know what I prefer to do.
Okay.
And I achieved that.
I can't come back on that one.
And it's not very easy to shut that man up, by the way. All right, moving on to Daniel Lee. He says, if you were the current manager of Manchester United, what would your ideal tactics be?
Ideal tactics?
What approach would you have?
I don't see the way Man United play now is no different to the way we play. I think they've always been a very attack-minded team. They've always attacked every team they've played against. And nothing's changed, so the same kind of tactics for me.
Do you know what I would change?
What?
I tell Paul Scholes never, ever to tackle. Ever. Ever.
But he has been doing it for the
I
past
know,
55, 75
never,
years.
Never allow Paul Scholes to tackle.
But
That'd
he's
be the
been
new
paid
tackle.
a lot of money to do those tackles. That's why that Paul Scholes, and he scores some great goals.
Yes.
I tell you what.
You wouldn't change anything as well?
Man United, no, I think the way they push two up at the back, United to me, since your time, have been playing effectively with two central defenders and the two fullbacks bomb on, and you get so many bodies in the penalty area. They're just so good, those two centre-backs. They make Man United.
They've got to be good.
Yeah.
Actually, what was the feeling like playing for Manchester United at that point in time, which was arguably the best team on the planet at that point in time?
You say that, but don't forget, I think you've missed out a big component of the team as well. That holding central midfield man. We had Roy Keane in there.
Yes, correct. Of course.
Now, I mean, the two centre-halves know they're going to be well protected anyway, so you push your fullbacks on as far as you want them. Because once you've got him sitting in front of you,
So effectively, it's a three centre-back and everyone else can bomb forward. That's effectively
that's the way Man United play.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the next question. It comes from the Orangeman. Would you like to have a go before I ask the next Facebook question?
Yeah, yesterday I was listening to this, and someone said that your son is actually with Man City Academy.
He
Is
is,
that
yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
And then the dad, obviously a legend with Manchester United. Why was the choice made like that?
It wasn't a choice made like that. It was a choice. My son was there when he was a kid, a very young boy, I think 6,
Okay.
and now he's
Well,
17,
in Man City itself, yeah.
and he's still there. So it's not a choice that I made or he made. It's just
It just happened.
just
Does he
happened.
support City then?
Does he? It's a strange one because naturally when kids are at a football club, that's the club they find themselves affiliated to. But if he moved away,
But you weren't the first one because Peter Schmeichel technically had his kid at City
his
as
son
well
was
before he
there.
moved on.
Yeah, well
moved on.
before mine.
Why is it? Because you don't see
That's
that many
interesting.
United players, kids being in the United Academy. Is something wrong there?
I wouldn't say there's anything wrong. I mean, it's the way the land lies. If it happens, it happens. But I don't think anyone really looks into it and say, well, he's forced him to go there or whatever. That's just like.
Actually, Andrew, you played for so many top clubs. How would you differentiate, say, maybe the top 2 or top 3 in your mind?
What, football clubs?
Yes.
Well, I can only talk of, obviously, Man United. I don't know how Liverpool's run as a football club.
But the
or
clubs you played for?
Arsenal. No comparison. There's no comparison because I class Man United as a Hollywood of football. He's got all the stars surrounding it. He's got great
What?
football
Everything
players.
was done right. Like the
Everything.
training, the
Everything.
food.
I mean, travel, security, everything. I mean, it's just.
Do you keep in touch with any of the backroom staff who might
Yeah.
have played a vital role in your career?
Yeah.
You do. Have they mentioned anything how things might have changed or remained
No,
the same?
because I would see the change. I mean, obviously, sports science moves on and all that kind
Yeah,
of stuff,
yeah.
but everything else runs exactly the same.
Do we have time? One more question. So, Andy, this is for the kids that are watching this show. What is that one thing, that one success criteria that is the most dominant for you and become such a great player, becoming a legend of Manchester United? What was that one thing that actually you would advise the kids that are
You've got
watching?
to work hard. I think whatever you want to do, not just in football, you could be want to be the best businessman in the world. You're only going to get there if you're prepared to work hard and put hours in. So everything, you've got to be dedicated to your job and you've got to be prepared to work very hard as well.
What did you tell your kid? Your
My son?
Yeah.
Same thing I'm saying now, you've got to work very hard. It's as simple as that. Nothing's given to anyone.
So kids, work really hard. You have a dream to become a great player or a good player, just keep working hard at
But
it.
study first.
Balance
Oh,
it.
for sure.
Yeah, balance
For
it.
sure.
You can have both.
When did you realise that you were good enough to become a pro?
When did I realise? I didn't. Because everything in football, you need that little bit of luck to go wherever you're going. But to play at the highest level, you might need that little bit of luck. I left Arsenal. As a kid, I went to Bristol City. Now, people were saying, oh, yeah, potential. What is potential? Unless you fulfill it. So when I left there, moved to Newcastle, thinking I'll play at the highest level, but that don't mean you're going to play at the highest level for 10 years, 15 years, or whatever maybe. So I was always striving. I always said to myself, I mean, you can always get better.
Do you ever feel like giving up?
Yeah, when I was younger, yeah, for sure, not a problem.
Wow.
Not a problem. That was
How
no problem
old
to
were
me
you?
when I was younger, 16, 17.
As in, what was your biggest obstacle back then?
Biggest obstacle. I just thought
All your
me and the
mates.
coach had a personality clash.
Okay.
I mean, I was more than prepared to walk out when I was, 17.
Do you see that in a lot of young footballers now? Because
No.
Pogba, like maybe leaving Manchester United for whatever reason.
That's not walking out, is it? Because you're leaving Manchester United and moving on to Juventus.
But he doesn't.
If you
feature
talk
for them
about
as well that
walking
much.
out is not prepared to play anymore.
Do you see that happening off?
No.
Apart from Tevez.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too. That would probably come close to a walkout. Actually, isn't it?
Moving on to Arun.
It's different when you're 17, 18
Exactly,
or so
yeah, man.
because you've got no plan B.
There you go.
You're out of the game.
Those guys have got plan B. So if Tevez didn't go back to Man City, he would have got another move because he's that good a player.
A golf
So it's
club.
not a case of saying, well, he's walking out never to play again. He's walking out to say, well, I don't like the manager, we've had our problems, but I'm prepared to move somewhere else if someone else comes in for me.
I mean, you're really, really very single-minded.
Yeah, you got to be. You got to be. Football's a team sport. Let's not forget about that. But
Yeah.
on the flip side of that, you got to think about yourself in that team.
Correct.
Because when you're out the team, your teammates not thinking about you being out the team. You're thinking about himself staying in the team. So
Yeah.
it's a great team sport, but you got to be selfish.
Was Van Nistelrooy coming over to United a big part for you to move on? You did give yourself some time.
Yeah, of course it was. Because you get to 30, you're not old. We look at players now, 36, 37 still playing. But I think when I was coming to the end of my career, when you got to 30, everyone was saying, oh, come to the end of his career at 30. And now people get to 35 and say, oh, he's doing a great job, 35 or whatever. And that's just how much football's changed again.
Okay, I've been stalling on this question for quite some time because these gentlemen kicked in. But the last question comes from Arun, and it says, "What is your funniest moment in football?" Don't say being on Bola.Mamak.
Funniest moment, I don't think I can even say it on TV.
Okay, the censored version. Let's leave all the David May stories out.
No, this got nothing to do with David May. This was a little incident between Nicky Butt and Peter Schmeichel. So very,
Nicky
very
Butt?
Nicky Butt.
But
Very,
isn't
very
he the
funny.
serious
Tell
one?
all.
Yeah, tell us.
Come on, we won't mention this to anybody. Apart from millions of people watching.
us.
You can't be aired.
Okay, let's picture Orangeman as Nicky Butt. Because no, actually, he sent me Bola. Nicky Butt went
the
Bola
other one,
afterwards.
the other
And the giant Peter Schmeichel, played by Ross Yusof.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so let's have this little scenario. What exactly happened? And this is a family show, by the way. So
So we'll leave it there.
we have already had one round of him answering your questions. So it is round number 2, and the first one comes from Shazwan, and he says, "You and Dwight Yorke at Blackburn. Was it the same as when both of you all were at United, your relationship?
In what way?
Both on and off the pitch?
Yeah, I thought we always got on well at Blackburn. It's just exactly the same we did at Man United. It was difficult for the partnership to work at Blackburn. I think everyone was expecting the same thing. Oh, it's going to work exactly the same, but I mean, it didn't work that way. But we still scored quite a few goals together.
Did the manager have anything to do with you also not working?
You could say so.
He never gives a straight answer, but he gives you a hint. Moving on, gentlemen, any questions?
Yeah, I always wondered, Andy, now that you have retired from football, do you ever wonder how crazy it is for Malaysians to be so die-hard supporting a club like a Manchester United or Chelsea or a Liverpool, and we are about 10,000 kilometers away?
Yeah, I've experienced it throughout my career, especially when we come here on pre-season with Manchester United.
Yeah.
And like in my role now, we travel to Asia quite a bit, and the fans are very, very, very fanatic. We was in China pre-season, and it's exactly the same there. So wherever you go in Asia, you're going to expect that kind of stuff.
But did you wonder why it's so? I mean, what do you ever wonder? What is the connection between these people and
Well, the connection
and
is
so
like you
far
said.
away?
How many miles is it?
10,000
Well,
kilometers.
there you go.
yeah.
That's why then.
Is
Because
it?
they can never get to watch a game week in, week out at Old Trafford. So when you do come here, I mean, that's the way they're going to react, and you can totally understand why.
Andrew, can I tell you why he's asking these questions? Because this man has a go at him every week saying, why do you support Liverpool? Why are Malaysians supporting teams that are 10,000 kilometers or miles away?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's just trying to fish out.
Answer that question. I think when you've grown up in Malaysia or wherever it is in Asia, watching football, you get affiliated to that football club. It could be 10,000 miles away or whatever it is.
But there's football going on in this part of the world, which drives me insane that there's such a passion for Man United. I just still don't understand. I've been here close to 15 years now. There's good football going on. There's big Malaysia Cup quarter-finals coming up this weekend on Astro Arena.
Oh, there you go.
But
Not
they're
a
coming
plug
up,
at
and
all.
it's a big trophy that's been going on since 1921. There'll be 80,000 at the final, and it matters. And yet, the English-speaking press, for a large part, fawn over United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, and the English Premier League.
But remember, all the games from the cup will be on Astro Arena, Channel 801. Back to Mr. Andrew Cole. Thank you very much, Des. Okay, the next question comes from 101 and it goes, which player would you rather partner up front today, currently from the BPL?
Today?
It's a good question, that. I like that.
I don't know. No, because I've got to be brutally honest. I was very fortunate to play with some of the partners I played with. Very, very fortunate. There's some quality players in the Premiership now. But that doesn't say I'd have the same kind of partnership with the ones what I played now that I did do. So I think that's a tough one. Man United, there's Rooney there now, there's Van Persie.
Suarez, he'd set up chances for you?
He would set up chances. So I don't think he takes enough himself.
Correct.
Who else is out there? There's loads.
Van Persie, Rooney.
Yeah, there's loads of quality players. Loads of quality. So it's a very tough question now.
Okay, if he said it's too tough for him, but nevertheless, moving on to Ikma. When playing for England, who do you think should have been given the opportunity to play for England but was not called up?
England has changed so much since I was a kid. I remember when I was growing up watching England, if you were playing well for your club team, 9 times out of 10, the international team was called out, you would play. Now everything is set in stone. It don't matter how well you're playing for your club team, the England team is already set in stone.
Wow.
Already set in stone. And
People
that's
like
been
Steve
going on.
Bruce never made it.
There you go. Now that has been going on for the past 10, 15 years.
Wow, that's
To be
such a...
fair, at your time, there were some great strikers around. Robbie Fowler
I'm
didn't
not
get a
saying there
chance.
wasn't. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
But if you look at it,
Shearer and Sheringham got the
Even
goals.
further back, even the Jimmy Greenough days.
if you look at the England team now, yeah, what changes have been made from, for instance, Ericsson?
Well, John Terry won't be playing anymore.
But
But I know what you mean. It's same,
always
same
the
squad.
same. You
Same
could
squad.
you could be playing some of the best football you've ever played. I mean, I look at someone like Michael Carrick, not just because of Manchester United player. Yeah? Michael Carrick's a fantastic player, and when you talk about, I mean, starting the player from the back into your midfield player, what does Michael Carrick do for Manchester United? 40 games a season, gets it started from the back. He gets left out the Euro squad because the manager perceives he's only good enough to sit on the bench. How does that work?
But why do you think that's the case, though? Why do you think
Why?
it's so?
Because everything is set in stone. The England team is set in stone. Whoever's going to play will play.
But hasn't the manager got to believe in the players that he's got, and he fits the players to the system that he's around, and he's got a choice with England?
Yeah, I'm not shooting that, but what I'm saying, if someone's not playing particularly well and someone is playing well, why can that not be changed?
Are you talking about the whole Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard?
I'm just talking everything in general. Why can that not be changed? If you look at, someone mentioned it today, and I was speaking to them today. If you look at Germany, what did Germany do? They picked for
Revamp
World
players.
Cup. So Germany went at it, right? We're going to bring in all these young players now who play in the 21s or whatever. We're not expecting anything from the World Cup, but we're looking forward to the Euros. When they get to in the World Cup? Semis? In the Euros?
And re-energise the nation, to be fair. Germany have always been an exception.
As England, what do we do?
Same as Italy. That's what we do. Italy are very similar. They have a core of players who they select time and time again.
But
they don't do too badly.
They don't do too badly. They've got one absolutely stunning midfield player who dictates the play, and the rest of them can play and the work rate around him. I mean, we keep talking about all the youth we've got and how good they're going to be. Now, we can talk all we like. If you're not going to give them a chance, keep talking.
Are you talking about Pirlo and Carrick and how they were maybe a bit
Yeah.
similar?
I mean, they'll get the play going. You've got to get the play going. If you want to play super football from the back, you've got to have someone in midfield who's prepared to get on the ball all the time and play. That's the only way forward.
Happy Des?
Well, Walcott's been given a chance. He scored a hat-trick. He's at 21. Andy Carroll's still only 22. Players are coming in.
Name who else?
Jordan Henderson has been on the out. Okay, I won't go there.
Who else?
No,
But you need your experienced players. Would you drop?
How many experienced players do you do? So you just mentioned there, Germany are the exception.
But they still
look
had
at that
Miroslav
German team.
Klose up front,
Right.
and they-
How many games does he play? Actually start. He has him around.
He has
He
them
might
around,
start
okay.
the odd game, but if you look at their team now, from the goalkeeper, back four, upwards,
So you'd be prepared to lose 5, 6, 7 or 8 games on the bounce for England?
Why not? How are you going to move forward?
Yeah.
By beating teams like, who did they beat the other day? Was it Moldova or something like that? You beat them 5-0, oh, absolutely brilliant, blah, 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 blah. You come to Ukraine, you struggle, and all of a sudden it's back to square one.
But is
Technically we're not this, technically we're not that, but we beat Moldova, everyone was saying technically we're the best in the world.
Is it not the case now that there's less quality English players available to be selected because of the foreigners in the Premier League?
I wouldn't blame the foreigners, that's what I wouldn't do. I mean, what the foreigners have brought to the Premiership is technique, skill, flair, whatever. Now it's for the English FA to make up their mind what they want to do. I mean, small-sided goals, or we've been talking about that since I was a kid.
So you reckon if for England to win the World Cup again, it's been since 1966, yeah? What do you think is a problem? Is it, like you're saying, it's too set in stone, the selection of the players? And
The whole system needs to be overhauled. I think the whole system. I'm not just talking about players. I mean, you know the football in England, yeah? You know the FA. Now, you look on the FA board, that panel, how many actually play football?
That's very correct. It's not a professional football setup, it's amateurs, because they have a bigger, wider brief that they have to deal with.
Right.
There's two sides to every.
So if we're talking, we want to prepare ourselves, move forward in football in terms, yeah? I think it's only Trevor Booking. Yeah? Now, you could have, for instance, I don't know, a school teacher telling someone that I play football, not being disrespectful, a school teacher.
But the FA is more than just dealing with your national team. The FA football belongs to the people. It is the ultimate socialist game.
And what do the people want?
They don't all want just one team to dominate. They want competitive levels, and they want to have opportunities to play
as England,
football.
yeah, what do the England fan want?
An England fan would like England to do well.
So how are you going to dominate playing better football if you look at what's there at the FA and saying, right, this is how we're going to go about things? When you look at it, you turn around and say, well, how many of the people at the FA play football? We can talk and talk and talk about, oh yeah, grassroots. What do they actually know about grassroots?
Can't disagree with that, but the grassroots are important.
Of course.
And the schools are looking after the schools and running the leagues and,
why don't you
running
get
after
people,
the states.
Why don't you get people involved in it who have played the game, understand the game?
They're trying to do that. There's 10,000 qualified coaches now, and they're working hard on that.
How many have actually played the game? That's what I'm talking about. We can qualify by, school teachers can qualify because they can write brilliantly and put everything in nice paragraphs and all that. How many of those coaches played the game?
So to a level, to a degree, not to the top level, but a lot of coaches will have played to a decent semi-pro level.
There you go. You're talking semi-pro. Now, if we're going to go forward, you need better than semi. I'm not being disrespectful to semi-pro football. We need to be. I think that's where we.
I think the English FA have to study the FAM.
because we seem to have similar problems, actually.
You guys have been discussing about English
bring
football.
up Jess Corkhill about who is actually doing the grassroots development. Non-players, who's sitting in the FAM, non-players. It's very similar. Yeah, actually. Wow.
So the players have got to start to put an awful lot back into the football then.
I'll be honest with you. Do you know why a lot of players, retire from football and don't bother going to do the coaching badges and all that? Because, for instance, you go and do your coaching badge, and you could have a guy who's got all the qualifications, who's played at no level whatsoever, saying to you, well, I think you should make this run, I think you should do this, and you look at him as if to say, well, did you play the game? No, I didn't play the game, but I'll tell you what, qualifications, it beats the object.
We have this within Malaysia as well, where we talk about the best way to develop Malaysian football, and it's strikingly similar.
Yes, that's
So
right.
the FAM
Equals FA.
Sorry?
I want to get a lot of hate letters after this. Okay, moving on to Kavin, and he goes, if you had to choose to be stuck in a room with either, oh dear Lord, Graham Souness or Teddy Sheringham, who would you pick?
I'll stay in a room by myself.
Well,
Would you buy a gun from me?
No, there's kids watching the TV.
And the final question comes from Ultimate Sports. Are you related to the Ultimate Warrior back in the day, WWF? But yes, he says, did you know that there were rumors of you playing for Selangor back in 1994? in Malaysia, that's Malaysia.
Just about to say no.
You would have faced the same
Used to be.
problems, FA, FAM, but you know, you just waited another 15 years to move to face that.